This is Heavy Conversation with Bruce and Jody, a podcast where we talk about being a big guy in today's world. I'm Bruce. And I'm Jody. Here we go.
Here we go.
All right, here we go. All right, here we go. Hey, Bruce.
Jody,
What's up?
how's it going?
Going pretty good.
Good.
Yeah.
Today,
Been a good day.
we're going to talk about obesity and the law.
Yeah. Laying the law down.
Yeah.
Or taking on the law.
So I came across this just recently, but it happened back in the summer that the state of Washington ruled that obesity should be a protected class.
Mm-hmm.
They went through a whole thing and said that basically that companies cannot discriminate against individuals who they perceive to be obese when they are looking at hiring.
Yeah.
So, it's an interesting idea, and it's something that I don't know that it's been talked about a lot, and I feel like with kind of the work that we do, that it's something that comes up, talking about horrible experiences that people have had, being bigger and being out there in the world or trying to get jobs or, things like that.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I think we all know that there's like discrimination against fat bodies, fat people. That happens a lot. I think it happens a little bit more with women, I think, because women's bodies are a lot more scrutinized than men's bodies. But I think it still does happen to, masculine identified people.
Sure.
I think, I think it's pretty, I honestly think I was surprised that there are jobs that are discriminated. I just it doesn't occur to me if someone's qualified for a job, it doesn't even it does not compute kind of thing in my head. Like, why would you discriminate against someone if they're bigger?
Right.
If they're qualified, it's like,
if they're
are they qualified? They're qualified. Like,
right.
It doesn't matter what they look like.
Yeah, I think.
But, I mean, this particular case was about a guy that worked for a railroad. I don't know what the job was, but I'm like, I don't understand.
Was it basically that the railroad company didn't think that he could do the job?
Little bit that I read in here, it said they had some sort of, his employment was contingent on a physical exam, and that his body mass index was 35 or under.
Okay,
and his particular body mass index was at a 41, and they said that he had to lose 10 pounds to be considered for employment.
So they were basing it all on the BMI as opposed to whether he could do the job.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which in the BMI is kind of a weird measurement that I don't know what
it is, because a BMI doesn't tell you if somebody can
muscles,
do.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just about your mass.
Right.
So who knows what his abilities were? Obviously, if he got that far in the job, he could probably do the job. I don't know.
Yeah, and I feel like that's the thing is, it's like, instead of using a specific number and saying this is what it has to be for something like this, in this case, it should be more about, can this person do the job?
Can you do the job?
Are they equipped to do the job? Are they fit to do the job?
Yeah, it's like those things. Are you able to lift 50 pounds? Can you bend and twist? What all those kind of, those are basic things. It's not, what is your weight?
Right. And it feeds into the myth that all bigger people are lazy, or that they can't do these things, or that they're not out there doing active things.
Yeah, doing physical jobs or whatever. Yeah, I thought it was kind of ridiculous. So, they had a ruling that I'm just going to read it. It says the Washington Supreme Court reasoned that because obesity was a physiological disorder affecting multiple body systems listed in the statute, it is always an impairment under the state's anti-discrimination law.
Interesting.
So
they're still saying that obesity is an impairment, and they're saying that you can't discriminate against people because of that.
Yeah.
I
But
mean-
it's not it wasn't, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not considered a disability,
Okay.
but it's protected in the state of Washington
Interesting.
under the anti-discrimination law.
I think that there's a lot of discrimination against bigger people that rears its head in a lot of different ways, and definitely in the workplace. And whether it's at jobs that people that obese people already have, or it is trying to get jobs, I can absolutely see that there are people who would look at somebody who's bigger and say, well, we don't want to hire them for whatever reason. So something like this to me feels like, I mean, I feel like it's a plus,
Yeah, it felt when you brought that up, I was like, well, that seems
excessive.
no. It just was weird. Like I said, it was weird to me. Like if they're qualified for the job, and when I'm hiring people,
You're not thinking
about.
Right.
I mean, sometimes I do think about it because I work at DXL. We serve big and tall people, so I kind of want big and tall people in the job. Sure. But I'm not like specifically like you have to be this,
right?
Is
that something that you ask them about? I mean, as far as like carrying out the duties of the job, do you talk to them about whether or not they're going to be able to? I mean, you're going to be on your feet all the time. You're going to be
there's certain you have to be able to it's like lift because you have to be able to move boxes. You have to be able to lift 50 pounds. You have to be able to bend and turn and do if you can do these things, then you're fine. It's not like are you big?
Yeah.
Or like, I don't know.
Right.
There's there are, and you have to follow those laws. There are anti-discrimination laws. You can't ask certain things, but you can be like, can you lift? Can you bend? Can you stand? Can, within certain,
Which is, I mean, it just makes sense if somebody's applying for the job and they are qualified and they feel like they can do the job. There you go. That feels like what you're looking for.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Like I said, I don't know what the specific job was that this particular case was about, but I think it is a step forward in I think it's common sense. If the person can do the job, it doesn't matter what they look like.
Right. It's sad that this has to be.
I'm just like, okay, well, this seems, but obviously we do have to have this because people are discriminated against because of these things. It's just like people of color or women.
Yeah.
In my brain, it's like, well, it doesn't matter, but it does to some people. So,
right.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly had not heard about this, so I didn't make a big ripple in the news. Or
I know, surprisingly, that was the thing. I hadn't heard about it either until months later. So.
Yeah, I was like, how did I not? Because I feel like I kind of hear about these things, but
So let me open this beer while we're kind of at a.
I know I'm like trying to process it a little bit more. Yeah. I read it and I was trying to read some more and.
So this beer is great because I don't know what's going on here when I look at the label.
It took me a while.
If you're looking at the front of the label, there are no actual words. There's lightning. There is some kind of strange growing tree mushroomy thing.
Yeah.
And there's like a whole bunch of dots and craziness going on. This beer is, Foreign Objects.
Yes.
From Stardust to Thought Form. New American Hoppy Ale. So I think Foreign Objects is the brewery. The beer is brewed by, Foreign Objects Beer Company. Wanakee? Waunakee? Wanakee?
Wisconsin?
Yeah, Wisconsin.
I was like, wait, what?
Wanakee? It feels like Wanakee would be.
I'm not sure.
I lived in Wisconsin for a little while. Wanakee feels
sounds
right.
Yeah, I was like,
yes, and so New American Hoppy Ale, and we're going to break this bad boy open. All right.
Foreign objects. Oh, wait. Foreign objects says something about New York, so I don't know.
Yeah, so there were a few different Foreign Objects beers there when I picked this one out, but
from Stardust to Thought Form, though.
I felt like one of the things that I was looking for as I looked for new beers was some non-Oregon beers, which
Yes.
I know that you've done or do. Taver, is that the
the app? Yep, the Tabor app where you can order beers.
Yeah.
They do featured beers of the day kind of thing where you can order certain amount of beers from different breweries across the country.
Right.
They're limited, all that kind of stuff. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, so that's the cool thing is we're here in Portland, so it's very easy to get West Coast beers. Mm-hmm. So getting out of that and trying different ones. So we went into the heartland for this, Wisconsin. So let's see what foreign objects
made with lactose sugar and hopped with Galaxy, Cashmere, and experimental hop number 472.
From Stardust to Thought Form.
We bathe in the waves of relief that come from our precious. Wow, this is.
There is a there's a manifesto on the side of that. Let me. I'm doing this. I'm going to read it. Our atoms are 6 billion years old. We've got 6 billion years of memory in our minds, and it was all leading to this new American hoppy ale made with lactose, sugar, and hopped infinitely with Galaxy, Cashmere, and El Dorado. We bathe in the waves of relief that come from our precious thoughts. But in the void, all that existed was the ultimate moment of terror, which was the beginning of life. The aeons blinked, and the dust of cosmic eternity compressed like a diamond, and became all things, culminating finally into human thought form. And here we are. From Stardust to Thought Form. So there we go.
Wow.
I love it. I'm like, they were doing more than just drinking.
I know. I think they were doing mushrooms when they were making this beer. That's what explains all this weirdness on there.
Yeah, it's
not bad.
No, it's
hoppy.
It is.
It's not bad.
I don't know what I think of this. It's hoppy.
But it's not like crazy. It's not like one of those.
No, it's not. It's pretty
double
easy. It's
whatever.
Pretty easy to drink.
What was that third hop? Because on the descriptor here it said experimental hop number 472.
Yeah, so it says Galaxy, Cashmere, and El Dorado. I've never heard of Cashmere. Yeah. I've heard of Galaxy hops, but I don't know if I've heard of El Dorado. I definitely haven't heard of Cashmere. So. There are so many different hop varieties, strains.
It's gotten a lot. It's gotten 5,865 ratings on Untapped, and it has a 4.07.
Really? Hey, that's good.
That is really good. Yeah. A 6.7 ABV. There's no IBU rating on this here, but.
Speaking of Untapped, what's your name on Untapped if people want to find you?
I don't know. I think it's just my name, Jody Koenig. Sorry. I was I don't know.
All right.
Yeah. You can follow along with all of the Heavy Conversation beers that we do on every episode on Untapped. Follow our Heavy Conversation list.
Yes.
Every beer that we drink is on there, and you can try and follow along or follow us and cheers us when we're drinking beers.
Absolutely.
Every time I go on a trip or go anywhere, I always check in.
Yep.
My last trip to Montana, I tried a couple new beers, and
it's fun to track, especially if you drink a lot of beers and you just want to keep
a lot
track
of different
of those
beers.
things.
Yeah, not if you're just drinking.
Oh yeah, if you're drinking a 20-pack of Keystone or whatever, it's
just on repeat.
You don't need that.
You're fine, probably, but
right.
Yeah. I totally forgot what we were talking about. This court case thing. Sorry. Whew. Yeah, I think this is a good. Obviously, it's needed because people are being discriminated against. And there's like steep wage things that happen with people that are
a lot of inequity there.
Yeah, there's a lot of
right where bigger people are making less. Yeah. I guess the big question is: Is this a law that should be nationwide? Should it be state by state? I feel like nationwide makes sense for something like this.
I think a federal thing would be, would just take care of everyone because there's going to be the states that are. I don't want to get into politics too much,
sure.
But I think that there's a lot going on right now, but I think this is something that is a serious thing. Obviously, people are being discriminated against getting employment. Employment is a big,
Right.
That's a big thing in people's lives. You need to have a job. And if you're qualified for the job, and then the thing that is preventing you from getting the job is because of your perceived, whatever.
Right. Size, inability to do the job because of your size.
Yeah. Like that doesn't, obviously there needs to be anti-discrimination laws against that, or, so.
Right. Yeah. We've gotten to this point where we need to look out for each other. And if it requires a law to do that, then that's where we're at.
Yeah. I think I need to do a little bit more reading on what this was about.
I'm curious if this in Washington State, if this will make a difference for other,
Well, it's kind of, there's a little bit of a ripple effect when those kind of laws start happening. And,
right. But it also feels like something that's hard to measure and hard to follow. I mean, I guess if somebody applies for a job and they don't get the job and they happen to be a bigger person, then they can be like, well, look, this is, here's what I think happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's, I don't know. It will be interesting to see.
But it's weird to me that they had a thing about the person's BMI being at a certain level. Like that just seems already like something that shouldn't be done. Yeah,
and I feel like there are some other jobs where that's a thing, where they have specific rules around that. And there are different jobs at different companies that screen for all sorts of things. Like I read something about U-Haul saying that they won't hire smokers. That's a specific thing that they stay away from. And I feel like, okay, I mean, I guess I understand where they're coming from, but I also feel like it's a slippery slope, because what if you smoke a cigarette a month? What if you're not like a habitual everyday smoker, and it's not, I don't know, or even if you are and you can still do the job, I don't know, it's difficult because like I said, it's a slippery slope. You start with that, then U-Haul says, well, if you have a BMI over 35, then we're not going to hire you, so it's this whole thing. So I don't know,
it is a little weird.
I
don't have a lot more, because it's just it seems like a thing that shouldn't be happening already, but obviously it is. So we need to have this.
I'm curious to see if other states follow suit with something like this. And it seems like Washington is setting a precedent, that other states could follow.
Yeah. I'm curious to know what other people's opinions on this ruling in Washington State. What do you think about obesity as a protected class? And anti-discrimination laws against that. I want to know what you guys think about that. Is that something you think is needed wherever you live? Have you had any sort of experiences applying for jobs, or at your job? Like, I want to know. I'm really interested in hearing about this a little bit more.
It would be interesting to hear people's stories, and how they've had to face this, if it's something that they've dealt with at their place of employment. All right, so let's switch gears and talk about what
are you up to
this week. So for me, one of the big things that happen to be standing out is that the Australian Big and Tall brand Johnny Big just launched in the U.S. They have a U.S. website now.
Yeah.
So they launched technically, they did a soft launch in December. Their clothes are great. They sell modern clothing for big guys. They have sizes to 9X, which I think is awesome. Especially if you're trying to find like modern stuff, it's hard to find that. So they have 9X in shirts, and they go to 54 waist.
Okay.
They're not quite as expensive as some Big and Tall brands or retailers, but they're also not like fast fashion cheap.
Okay.
The quality of the products that I've tried, it's really solid, and I think it's worth the price.
Yeah, I think you were talking about them before, and I was like, I need to try some of their stuff out. I need to.
Yeah.
But it's weird because they're in Australia.
Right.
So they're in their summer. So it's like their seasons are different than ours. So they're like promoting their summer stuff right now. But
So luckily the U.S. site takes all that into
does it?
consideration.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's not even something you have to worry about. Their U.S.
then
site is...
I got to go to the correct.
Yeah. So,
Not .au.
Right, it's just johnnybig.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there we go.
Yeah, so they've got all that.
That does help.
It does. And I've got a pair of pants that I got from them that I've worn around a few times, and it's like, it is, it's part of my regular rotation now because they feel good, they look good. They've definitely thought about like putting a modern spin on all the stuff, but they're making clothes for bigger bodies. So
there we are.
I'm super happy with what they've done. They definitely
They're using some big guys in this stuff too.
they do. They're using bigger models. And
Nice.
they specifically, the models they're using, the bigger models that they're using for their U.S. site are different from who they use for the Australian stuff. So
Nice.
They are...
They got some different ages in there.
Yeah, they're all in on this, and I think it's really cool to see a brand that is like, okay, we've done this in, in Australia, in our home country, and now we're going to branch out because we know there's opportunity here, and it's things that people need. So I'm all about brands that are trying to expand their reach and do more for the big and tall audience, especially in this way. So, they make clothes for bigger bodies. So it's exactly the kind of thing that we want to see. We did a review on Chubster.com that kind of covers the brand, tells you about them and what they're offering this U.S. audience. So check that out. It's over on the website. You'll get a better feel for everything they have to offer. And I'm definitely digging the clothes. I think I think it's pretty cool what they're doing. So, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I definitely got to check out some more of this. Sorry,
So what's
I'm
up
just,
with you?
Scrolling through their website now.
Yes.
It's still in its like thinking stages. So it's nothing that's happened yet, but I'm thinking about the possibility of opening an actual physical retail location.
Whoa.
For either bearskin or a combination of bearskin and other brands. Really? So this is just a thought exercise maybe at this point.
Wow.
Just kind of exploring what does that look like?
Yeah.
What does it look like for us to open a physical location here in Portland?
That's awesome.
So it's what is the next step for bearskin? What is the next step for me? That kind of thing. So just that's kind of my goal for 2020 is to explore what does that look like? What is that?
Right.
What does it look like? So
wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So we've just been kind of the past couple of weeks. It started back when we went on a trip to Montana. We did, doing road trips. You have a lot of time to just talk and explore ideas.
Sure.
So it kind of started back then. And we're just kind of exploring it a little bit. So it's kind of a fun...
It's a cool idea.
Exercise. Yeah. I know everyone's like thinking retail is dead, but I honestly don't think that it is. I think it's an experience that you have to give your consumers,
Yep.
your customers, and I think that that's something that I can do. So,
and I think niche retail specifically is alive and well and just not being catered to. Mm-hmm. Especially if you're trying to do a brick and mortar thing and you're doing a small focused thing.
Yeah,
I think that could work.
Yeah, and just bringing in like a Johnny Big or something. I don't know what brands we're going to be even doing, but
sure,
just focusing on some of those brands that people can't really get.
Yeah.
And something like that, I
love that.
It's still an infancy sort of idea.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's where my brain's been spinning about the last few weeks.
There's so much you could do there that would be so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm kind of excited about whatever happens with that. It's kind of a fun thing to explore. And
yep. We'll have to check back in on that later this year and just kind of see where you're at, and if you know what you thought about with that, because I think there's definitely a lot to think about with doing something like that. But man, nobody is. Very few companies are catering to this audience in a way that is
because I mean there's and I don't like the word boutique, but that's the word that I use is like a high-end men's plus size boutique store. I don't like haberdashery. We're trying to think of words, whatever, but that's where my brain is at. You go to a lot of downtown stores or high-end locations, and there's like those and just doing that on a plus size men's masculine angle, that spin on it. So I know there are a lot of new brands out there that are trying to do the plus size men stuff. So like just giving them an opportunity and a physical place to have their stuff too,
which is awesome.
So I don't know, that's kind of a thing I've been exploring a little bit, so I'm kind of excited about that.
That's a cool idea. I love it. Nice.
So that's what I'm doing.
Well, perfect. Well, I think we've solved a lot of problems in yet another episode.
And, brought up some new ones.
Yes. We've created some new problems. So there we go.
All right. Well, thanks, Bruce. I appreciate it.
We've done it again.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Heavy Conversation. Be sure to like and subscribe on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts.